lot of ways by which we can destroy and beat down our nervous systems, whether from excess stress, from thinking too much, working too much, or also from drug, alcohol, or substance abuse. So what we're going to do in this video is actually look at some ways and some things we can do to rebuild and strengthen and ground and insulate our nervous system. Now, the first and the most important thing that we need to understand when talking about this is that odds are it's not going to happen overnight. I'm not going to say, hey, buy this magical pill and tomorrow you'll wake up and be reborn a perfect, healthy, functioning, amazing, radiant person. That might be what some of you want to hear, and that might be convenient in some aspects and facets, but that's not what's going to happen. What we're going to do is look at some nutritional strategies, some supplement strategies, as well as some exercise and psychological strategies through which we can put together a holistic, comprehensive program which we can then implement to rebuild and strengthen our nervous system. So the first thing that we need to look at is obviously where are the leaks in the system and how can we minimize them. You might think, well, I thought you were going to just tell me what to do. Well, this is definitely part of it. Basically, illustrate it like this. Let's say I have this cup here, right, which happens to contain a delicious drink, but let's say there's like some leaks at the bottom of this cup and liquid is just continuously pouring out. But on the back I have, a blender full of the drink, so I'm like, oh, I'm leaking, I'm losing some, let me just pour more in. Eventually, the liquid's going to run out and I'm going to be left with an empty cup. But the smarter thing to do would be, how about let me just plug up these leaks? How can I plug up the leaks so, yeah, I can hang on to more of what I have, and when I add more in, I'll actually be able to build up a surplus and not just maintain a deficiency. So we have to ask ourselves, what are things that we're doing now, behaviorally, psychologically, spiritually, or things we're putting in our body, putting in our mouth, substances we're consuming that are leaking energy, or in other words, beating down our nervous system, stressing our nervous system, in other words, digging us in a hole further and further. So the first thing is obviously to minimize that and cut down on those things and ask ourselves and think about that. Second thing is, obviously, we're going to want to hit this with some proper nutrition and supplements. So one of the most crucial aspects nutritionally is getting proper fats. And regardless of wherever you're at in your diet, whether you're just a total beginner or you're someone who's quote advanced, whatever, having the right fats in your diet is really important and really foundational, because honestly, these are really the building blocks for the nervous system. So again, these fats help to build up and insulate our nervous system, which if we've been beating it down over a period of years, definitely going to need that. Or even for someone who works really hard, maybe runs a lot of energy, maybe spends a lot of time thinking, spends a lot of time on the computer, we're going to need a lot of support in that regard anyhow. So then what are the proper fats? Basically, first and foremost would be ghee. And if you're not familiar with what ghee is, it's Ghee, and it's actually clarified butter. So basically what they do is they take butter and sort of cook out all of the milk fats, or not the milk fats, but the liquids and everything, and all that's left over is just the pure essence of that butter. And also what I'll do is link to companies and websites where you can get really high quality, certified organic, grass-fed, pastured, amazing ghee, which is just not only a food but a medicine. It's literally where those two concepts unite. And ghee is like a sacred food in Indian and Ayurvedic culture. So that's the first thing. Second would be coconut oil. Third would be a fish oil. And again, you want a high quality one, and I'll link to one below. And fourth would be consuming pastured eggs. And the ideal thing is, going to a local farm or getting eggs from a local farmer, whether that's through a store or whatever. And how you can tell quality on eggs is you want basically a hard shell and a really dark, sort of dark yellow, almost orange yolk in the middle. And that's how you can tell the chickens are actually eating good food and they're actually producing good eggs. And if you're getting it from a legit high quality farm, the chickens are eating all kinds of good stuff. They're living well. They're out in fields walking around, and it's a really amazing thing. Second aspect when we're talking about diet is to eat right for your metabolism. Because oftentimes people are just, eating the wrong foods, which then throws their blood sugar out of balance, which then throws, kicks in their fight or flight response, kicks in adrenaline, kicks in insulin, and their hormone system just all over the place, which is of course wreaking havoc on the nervous system. So that means eating right for your own metabolic type, meaning the proper ratio of fats, proteins, and carbs for your own body type. And if you want to learn more about that, because it's a big concept outside of this video, you can just type in like metabolic typing, and it's something that's just really helpful, which can apply to pretty much any diet. It can really allow you to fine tune and find what's right for you. And the next thing is to obviously eliminate processed sugar and processed foods, which I don't think, hopefully I don't even have to mention this, because if you're watching this, hopefully you already know and you eat like actually real food, like real food, not things from boxes and cans and just things produced in factories, who knows where, like actually things that you can say, oh yeah, that's what this is. I can look at it and know exactly this is a real food from the earth in some way or another. And then along with that, you want to eat as clean as you can without being a fanatic or a Nazi about it. Meaning, there's ideals and then there's real life. And in various situations, we just have to do the best we can and be okay with that. And oftentimes, it's worse for you to be a Nazi or be a fanatic about every single little thing you put in your body than it is to just like chill out, relax, and do the best you can all across the board. And of course, go for quality first and foremost, and second to that, find what's right for your own personal metabolism. So really, if you're confused by a diet or you're not sure what to do, if you just take those two principles, quality first, what's the best that you can get, meaning, quality in the sense of, we're talking about eggs earlier, quality would be, going to some generic grocery store, getting a dozen eggs for like 99 cents, or going to the health food store or going to a local farm, getting a dozen eggs for like $3 or $4, and compare the two together, both in appearance as well as taste, texture, flavor, everything, nutrition, and you'll see a pretty shocking difference. And then again, eat right for your own personal metabolism. So along with the dietary things, there's some herbal things which can really help as well. In a general sense, any of the adaptogens will really help. Specifically, any of the medicinal mushrooms, chaga, reishi, cordyceps, as well as another favorite adaptogen, which is gynostemma. Now, why would I mention those, and how do those relate to the nervous system? Well, because they modulate the hypothalamus pituitary axis, which governs your fight or flight response, which governs your stress, which obviously is governing your nervous system quite a bit. Also, because they're immune tonics, they can help to sort of knock out organisms or creatures or viruses or things that might be beating down your immune system, stressing out your body even more, leaking energy, etc. Also, they help to just sort of calm the mind, calm the nervous system, and help you utilize energy much more easily and effectively. And those would be something you'd want to consume on a daily, regular basis, almost as foods, because essentially that's what they are. Now, really the meat of the matter comes down to this, which are our third aspect, which is proper exercise, breathing, and meditation. And this is the piece that I think people just generally ignore, because we just want to consume things or not consume things. We want to say, oh, well, I just eat this and that solves all of my problems. Well, if I just down this bottle, all of my problems are solved. Sure, you get a little bit of help, you get support, you get results from just doing one thing, but in reality, when you add in working with the body, working with the mind, working with the breathing directly, everything else exponentially increases. And why I'm bringing it up, you might be wondering, is because, number one, if our nervous system is fried, we're basically feeling probably stressed, tensed, paranoid, fearful, anxious, etc. So wouldn't it be meaningful and worthwhile to learn how to feel relaxed, learn how to feel calm, learn how to feel grounded, and learn how to feel sort of centered in our body? And then also learn how to let go of and relax tension when it does arise. And basically through that we learn how to more effectively handle and deal with stress and tension. Because let's face it, life is stressful, life causes tension, life causes, fear, anxiety. All of these things happen and arise naturally. They're not bad, they're not evil, It's just when the balance is thrown off and shifted, then we fall into problems and imbalance. So it's not, how can I eliminate 100% all the fear and anxiety and stress and tension from my life forever? And you might think that sounds retarded, but honestly, some people do it and obviously are massively retarded in their progress. They're like literally frozen and stuck in that place. So basically, along with that, is through working with proper breathing, exercise, and meditation, learning how to handle stress and tension. We're also fine-tuning that hypothalamus pituitary axis, which I mentioned earlier, so that your body over time will chemically handle stress more effectively and efficiently. And that's scientifically validated for how the adaptogens actually work. It's just coming in and approaching it from, sort of the root, from the mind, from the nervous system, from the breath, and from the body directly. Those two just marry quite well together. And you might think, okay, well, what is proper exercise, breathing, and meditation? Well, many of the things that I've made tons of other videos about, which would be yoga, qigong, tai chi, bagua, meditation, etc. All of those things. I mean all of those things. I don't mean practice all of those. I mean practice one of those or a combination of those that works for you. Meaning I listed all of those things because not all of those things will work for every single person. One of those might work for you and it might not work for me. One of those might work for me and not for you. So out of that variety, you can then choose one that works best for you, and then most importantly, actually do it. It's not necessarily, well, which one's better? Well, which one's the best? Which one's the most proven? Well, which one's the most ancient? Which one's the most esoteric? No, it's which one will you actually do and practice and enjoy? That's the best one. And then later on, then you can ask yourself, maybe I can try something else, maybe I can take the next level, etc. So the last aspect that we're going to talk about is learning to identify and let go of tense, anxious, fearful thoughts and psychological patterns. Because you can start to throw in better food, throw in better exercise, but if you're still hung up on and addicted to the same thought patterns, you're still gonna end up creating some of the same situations. Granted, it'll be a little better, it'll be a little easier, but why not take it all the way? Why not throw in, and create a really nice package and address the psyche as well? And honestly, if you're going to practice meditation regularly, you're practicing breathing and Tai Chi or Qigong and these other things, this is going to start to happen naturally because it's a natural side effect. As you get more in tune with your body, as you get more in tune with your nervous system, you start to feel how you think makes you feel, and how you feel makes you think. And you start to see, oh yeah, they're actually not separate. It's actually one in the same process. And it's not that my mind and body are connected. It's actually that my mind is my body and my body is my mind, and the whole division doesn't actually exist. But that becomes apparent to you. You'll just be practicing one day and then boom, there it is. And you're like, whoa, I was asleep, but now I'm awake. I can see this now. And then, also along with that, patterns will go through your head. And because you're anchored and grounded in a relaxed state, you'll see it for what it is and say, wow, I don't really want to think that anymore. That's kind of silly. I honestly just prefer to let that go. And you say, okay, I'll just let that go. And then you'll work it out inside. So all of those things that I've listed here, looking at the leaks, identifying the leaks, minimizing the leaks, adjusting your diet, adding in the right supplements, herbs, and fats to provide a foundation, and then throwing in the proper breathing, exercise, meditation, as well as throwing in the mental aspect as well. It's a pretty well-rounded, pretty comprehensive, pretty holistic approach, which can yield results. And I don't just mean results like, if you just follow my 7 easy steps, your life will be better in 28 days. No, what I'm saying is, as a person who dealt with a lot of stress, anxiety, tension, fear, all across the board for many years, this is basically what I pieced together over the years as what I've done and what I did, which allowed me to really be able to do things which I never conceived of as being a possibility before, because I physically, psychologically could not handle it. So I'm not just making this up because it sounds cool. I'm relaying it to you because it's worked for me and it's worked for other people that I've worked with, and it's based on common sense principles which are pretty easy to apply and integrate into your life. And for that reason, I hope that if you need this stuff, you integrate these things and apply them, because they will help and help you feel better, and then help the other people around you feel better, then etc. Everyone wins. So hopefully that's been helpful. If you have any questions or comments, post them below. Also, check out the outline that I'm posting below the video, which will have links for products, etc. Thanks.